I just kind of want to start out with a little story before I get into what I'm going to talk about. But little story. There was a man. He was stranded on a desert island, and for days he was out there at the ocean, looking and looking for help, and looking for boats, and praying and please God help me. And just days and days went by, and nothing. So he decided, okay, I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to build myself a little hut. I'm going to try to get comfortable, and I'll just live my life here. And so it took him quite a while to get that hut built, and he finally got it to where he was halfway comfortable. And one day he goes out to collect berries, and on his way back to the hut, he sees that it's caught on fire. So now he's in total despair. And he goes down to the ocean, and he decides that he's going to throw himself in and kill himself, end it all. And as he got closer and closer to the water, he looked out and he noticed that there was a boat coming. And once he's rescued and he's on the boat, and he's so relieved, and he said, after all this time, how did you find me? And they said, well, we saw the smoke from your fire. And that kind of happened to me. I had a big fire. Actually, it was a flood. But in 2014, my life was changed forever. It was September. My business partner and I had owned a restaurant for over 20 years. And at that point, you really kind of figure that's what it is. You're doing it. You've been doing it. It's worked out well. Just keep doing it. And we had kind of wanted to move on and do some other things, but it's never really, why walk away from the money if you don't have to. It was kind of funny because for months before this event happened, I had kind of had this burning or kind of a yearning in my heart to do something different. So for what we would do is every year we would close for 2 months. And we not only had the restaurant, but we also have a seasoned olive oil company that was created from my business partner's family recipes. And so we would close for 2 months and go up north to Michigan, Ohio, and we'd travel for the summer and do live events. And we got back after being gone for 2 months, and our restaurant had been completely destroyed. And when I say completely destroyed, I mean completely destroyed. And so now suddenly we went from 7 days of work to 2 days of work. Literally overnight, we had zero income from the restaurant. We still had all the outgoing. We still had the mortgage, the insurance, and everything was still coming in, but there was no money coming in. And it took many, many months, even actually a couple of years, to finally get everything taken care of. And they, a long story short, our insurance company refused to rebuild. So here we are. We literally overnight went from the 7 days of work to 2 days of work. We have to jump in. And now these olive oil company that we had really used just as kind of a part-time income that was kind of extra, now had to be our 100% company. And talk about the fear, talk about a leap of faith, and talk about the horror of it all. It was very scary. And every day I would wake up dreading the day, and I would want to just curl up on the couch in the fetal position and just make the day go away. And eventually, as time went on and the horror was just there all the time, you couldn't get away from it, I started having to try to figure out how to cope. I started having to figure out how, okay, we're going to have to go through this. And like my dad would always say, you're going to have to go through it anyway. You might as well enjoy yourself. There's no big deals in life. Just keep moving forward. And that's really how it ended up working out, is every day I would take it one day at a time. And it's great that you guys, one day is today. Is so awesome, because it really got down to creating a system for myself to be able to survive and then eventually thrive and grow. But it was a lot of trust, a lot of faith, a lot of, if you're listening and you're in business, typically you have projections, you have data, you know how much money you're going to spend that month and how much money is going to come in. And when suddenly you go from everything still being spent but nothing coming in, it really messes up with the traditional way of running a business. We literally had to go by faith. And I just remember thinking one day, okay, God, well, I guess we're just going to have to trust you. And as soon as that came out of my mouth, I thought that's the funniest thing ever. If you're just going to have to trust somebody, might as well be God, because he's pretty much got it going on. And so I started having something I called Coffee with Jesus. And every morning, it originally started off as Coffee with Jesus, please help. It was kind of a desperation of horror. And I would just crawl out of bed every morning and clinging to God and saying, I don't know how you're going to work this out, because there is no way in the world this is just not possible. And every day miracles would happen. And every day I started looking for miracles. And I think that was a huge shift in being able to not only go through something horrifically traumatizing, but to actually grow through it and find meaning. And that was so important, is that I was able to find meaning in the tragedy. And eventually we started calling it the miracle, because it was that every single day was a miracle. And so I would play this game with God, and I would say, okay, God, show me today something that I'll know that you're hearing me, that I'll know that you're exactly aware of what's happening and that you've got a plan. And it says in the Bible, nothing will be wasted from your past, and that God will give you beauty for ashes. And those are actually two different scriptures, but it worked good when I combined them. And so I started looking for miracles. And so I would just do little things. At first, I'd say, okay, God, show me a cardinal. And, it wouldn't be too long before there'd be a cardinal. And I'd say, okay, God, show me a yellow car. And there's the yellow car, not too long. And sorry. And then I started going, well, when your mind will kind of try to kick in and tell you, oh, well, that was going to go by anyway. Or, oh, well, that would have happened. So I started making them harder. And so like, I really want you to knock yourself out, God. Really, show me that you hear me. So I started asking for harder things. So instead of asking for a butterfly, I'll never forget this. We were in Michigan because once we lost the restaurant, my business partner and I had to go on the road full time doing live events, selling our seasoned olive oils. And so I'll never forget, we were in Michigan, way out in the middle of nowhere, and we were going into the store to get coffee at Starbucks. And so I had told her that morning, I said, we're going to see pink butterflies. And Miriam was always very good about this. She would go, oh, okay. Yep. She didn't tell me she was thinking, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Pink butterflies? Come on. A regular butterfly? Yes. Pink, please. She was like, okay, but what on the outside is what matters. She just agreed. So we get to the grocery store. We walk in. We're looking for the Starbucks. And I just froze in my tracks. And I'm just staring. And she was finally noticed that I wasn't going over to the coffee. And she looks and she's like, what are you doing? And we both look up. And there in front of us was this enormous pink butterfly balloon. It was just floating. It had kind of broken away from the other balloons. And it was just there right in front of me, this amazing pink butterfly balloon. Humongous. And as I'm standing there going, oh my gosh, thank you, God. You're so amazing. You rock. You're the bomb. God's the bomb. And I'm like having this little happy dance for because God rocks kind of moment of like, you hear me and you're going to make everything okay. As I was standing there looking at that pink balloon of a butterfly, I looked a little bit past it and there was this white tree that they had made up in the floral department. This big tree. And as I'm looking at this big tree, I look up at the top and it's all over the top. There's probably 40 or 50 pink butterflies that they had pinned to the limbs of the tree. And it was just like, oh, you go, God. You are, oh my goodness, you are so good at this. And it was just like an amazing conversation. It was literally like my friend showing me something that, he had given me as a gift for that day. And it really became that of just looking for miracles and trusting to know that, once you finally get to that point where you've done everything that you possibly can, there's nothing else to do but have faith. And that's really where I see right now is where a lot of people are with the COVID-19 is that, their huts are on fire. Maybe people have not gone through something so horrifying as losing a business and all their income before. Maybe this is their first time of having a massive breakdown in their money or in their family or in their life. And it's so important that we all have compassion for each other, because for me, it's definitely a hard situation. We made all of our income, I mean, from the internet as well, but we did shows every week that we travel around the country. So, all of our shows have been canceled, but it's the most amazing thing, because I remember the first time, the first miracle when the restaurant was destroyed. I couldn't wait until the day ended because I had to go to bed, because I had to get away from it all. And it's funny, Tim, you said music, because I would just plug in some music and just escape and just say, "Oh, thank God, it's time to go to bed." And it was funny because I would go to bed earlier and earlier. If it just looked a little bit dark, I was like, "Oh, bedtime," and to get myself out of misery. But now it's the most amazing thing, because every morning I wake up and I'm like, "Oh, God, okay, God, what are you going to do today? This is going to be awesome." And he's been so faithful. And it has been such a beautiful experience. It's been scary because, I want everybody to be safe. And, it's very hard for people that have been sick. And I have had a very good friend who got sick but recovered, thank God. Um, but I think this is really the most beautiful time that we can have right now, is for us to take that time to not just go through it, but grow through it. Take that time to step back from the horror, step back from the fear, and step back from trying to figure it all out, and just listen. Just step back and find your time that you can have a few minutes to have some downtime. I go out in the backyard and I still have coffee with Jesus every morning. I think he's drinking coffee. It's probably cafe con leche, because that is the nectar of the gods. But I every morning I'm out there with my cup of coffee, and now it's like, hey, let's have coffee. What are we going to do today? And it's an excitement and a trust. And so I would just really encourage everybody that if you've not been through something as traumatic as what you're going through right now, just take a minute to look back over your life and see the times when everything has worked out, when you felt that there was no way that it would work out, and just kind of let that be your touchstone to say, hey, everything is always working out for me, and it's all going to be all right. And really just take some time to do that soothing, and to know that you don't have to figure it out all at once, that you can just look at today, just one day, and just know that when you do make a leap of faith, at some point, both feet will always have to be off the ground. And it is going to be a little bit scary, but everything will work out in the end. And I just want to encourage you to have compassion, not only for others, but for yourself as well. And remember to look for your miracle also. Thank you so much for allowing me to come and share some of my experience, strength, and hope. And I just pray that everyone will all come out of this stronger, and more positive, and really with newfound love for life, and all of its adventures that it'll bring. Thank you.